Breeding racing pigeons to win. At this time of year, Christmas/New Year, in the UK, many fanciers are mating or contemplating mating their pigeons, and thoughts go towards how best to breed winning pigeons. I have been asked to pen my thoughts on the subject of breeding, so with a guaranteed reading audience of one, I will give you my thoughts on the subject. There are several methods of breeding pigeons and many theories to support or otherwise the merits of each method. This article will outline a pragmatic rather than a theoretical thesis approach to the subject that I hope will be of benefit or interest to the fancier. The first thing I will do is state the obvious, and that is no method of breeding is cast in stone or offers any guarantees. I feel it is a matter of finding a system that improves your chances of success. The second consideration is to have a clear vision of what you want to achieve, for example short distance winners, national marathon winners, good looking and tractable pigeons, etc. The third consideration is to keep records to help you know what you are doing, what you have done, the results of certain activities, etc. So having decided what you wish to achieve with your pigeons, short, medium, or long distance, and at what level, club, federation, combine or national, these ambitions will dictate the type and quality of your stock pigeons. It is probably possible to eventually achieve success within different pigeons, by continuously using the basket to select your pigeons. Eventually one will have a loft of pigeons that will be able to compete, as there are some good genes in all modern racing pigeons, and if you are selective with them over years, one will eventually have some decent pigeons. There is one major problem with this approach: it can take many years. I feel that winning genes will tell, and it is better to start with stock pigeons from a proven source. I personally would start with 1 pigeons from a loft that is currently winning at the level that I wish to compete. I see little point in starting at a disadvantage. If a fancier is not winning with his pigeons, then your chances of winning with them are even less. I also suggest you get pigeons from a fancier that is winning regularly. One result means very little that can indicate one good pigeon or one lucky result. I have a preference for a fancier with a medium to small population of pigeons, as they cannot afford the room to house indifferent pigeons, and the average quality is likely to be high. 2 pigeons from a fancier I like and trust. With the best will in the world, even the most ethical and talented fancier cannot guarantee their pigeons will win or breed winners, but some will try to give you a fair chance with the pigeons they supply, and often provide a word or two of wisdom that can help towards your success. 3 pigeons that physically conform to my idea of beauty and athletic perfection. Your pigeons will take a lot of your time, so it is better to have pigeons that you admire and in which have some confidence will achieve your racing goals. In my case, I have a mantra: pedigree with performance. I like to see a pedigree in which the ancestors and immediate parents have won races at federation level or higher. I will comment later on some exceptions. I also have a standard for the physical type of pigeon I am looking for. That for me are they must be pleasing on the eye and have the attributes I think are needed to win races. This is purely subjective. I have read many articles written by famous fanciers who talk about the wing, the pectoral muscles, feather quality, tight vent, strong back, buoyancy, eye sign, etc. They are all very interesting, but slightly conflicting with Mont details as to the difference between sprint pigeon and marathon pigeon wings and the various lengths of keel, etc. The differences between eye signs of racing and breeding pigeons. I can only surmise that a good pigeon may well have many of these assets, but obviously not one asset on its own is conclusive proof that a pigeon containing that feature will win. Otherwise the sport would be easy. One would simply look for pigeons with the magic feature and corner the market of winning pigeons. I am pleased the sport is more interesting than that, and although I am pretty sure that I subconsciously use many such criteria, but I am only aware of a few. These are: when I look at the pigeon, it must look special. It stands out from the other pigeons, full of vitality. This often means I often pick up larger pigeons than I generally like, as somehow they, especially the cocks, often look more grand. I really like pigeons that are medium size, full of vitality, glowing with health, and are muscular. I like them to resemble a wrestler, a ball of flexible compact muscle that is perfectly balanced. The buoyancy I only take into account if the pigeon is fit for racing, off-season, or some young birds are not buoyant and it is your job to feed and train them so they acquire buoyancy. I like good soft silky feathering. I like the keel to be shallow or medium depth, as deep keels do not seem so streamlined, although it could be argued there is more room for muscle and many deep-keeled pigeons have won races. I like a step between the secondary and primary flights, although I have handled many good short-distance pigeons that have a very small step. I like rich eyes reflecting the vitality of the pigeon, but do not follow any particular eye sign theory. As soon as I pick them up, I will sense the elasticity of the muscles, the quality of the feathering, and the balance. I sometimes think that when looking at the wing, the eyes, and feeling the vent, etc., I am going through the motions as I have made up my mind before with the look, and in the first few seconds after I pick them up, sensing the musculature, balance, and quality of feathering. Anyway, I give pigeons between 3 to 5 stars on physical attributes. I then look at the pedigree. This can often come first, but I think I can be influenced about how I feel about a pigeon from its pedigree, so it might be best to shortlist your pigeons from physical attributes and then make a final selection from the pedigree. In the pedigree, I look for winners on both sides, ideally at a similar distance to that I wish to win at. I am happy to see the same winner named on both sides of the pedigree. I prefer to have pigeons direct from winners, although there is in my experience little evidence to suggest that brothers or sisters to winners breed more or less winners than the winners themselves. I then give the pigeons between 3 and 5 stars on the strength of the pedigree. The next step is you must give the pigeon a fair trial in training and racing. That is the golden rule of pigeon racing. You simply have to be selective to have any chance of winning. I give pigeons 6 to 10 points for performance. Any pigeon with less than 3 points for physical conformity or pedigree would normally be culled unless they score 8 points or more for performance. Pigeons with less than 6 points for performance would be culled irrespective of pedigree or physical conformity. I would like to say that a fair performance trial is over 2 or more years. However, with the cost of keeping pigeons, I do not think one should keep young birds that in your opinion will not make the levels of performance you desire. This is why many fanciers train and race their young birds hard. This is to give them every opportunity to show their performance capability. For example, a pigeon that consistently is out of the top 1/3 of your pigeons in training and racing is unlikely to make the grade even in later years. I would suggest that your training and racing records are key to selection. They will provide a level of performance over time, with the pigeon in different condition, over different distances and being measured against its peers and other pigeons. If one takes young birds as an example, in the first year they will have a minimum of training tosses before the first race, then say 6 races and then a further 10 training tosses between races. This will provide the young bird with 26 opportunities to show some sort of racing form. I split my scoring into 3. I award 3 points for pigeons in the top 1/3, 2 points for the middle 1/3 and first point for the bottom 1/3. You can obviously add extra points for winning a club race or federation. At the end of the season, I simply add up the points and only select those on the top third, half or 2/3 RDS depending how many I have room for in my loft. NB, those you are considering for breeders must obviously have greater number than 6 from 10 in your performance analysis. NB, in general, to succeed you must look for an opportunity to reduce your number of pigeons, i.e. you are striving for excellence. Do not look for a reason to keep a pigeon. This selection starts before they are born. If the eggs are not perfect and smooth, it is unlikely to develop into sound offspring. If any young bird is always in a mess, it is either ill or its parents cannot feed it properly. Again, it will not develop into a champion. All EBs should be able to be taken from their parents within 28 days. If they are still dependent after that time, they are not likely to make the grade. All winning pigeons have fantastic constitution. They recover quickly from races and exercise and always seem in good health. Pigeons that regularly seem to be under the weather or need medication will not make champion stock or racers. When evaluating your breeding stock performance, as I mentioned earlier, they must be given a fair trial. I would suggest that this is 10 offspring over 3 seasons, ideally with different mates, unless you find a winning goldmine partnership earlier. If at the end of that period the breeder has not produced a winner, then frankly it is a luxury you cannot afford in your stock loft, if you want to win. So when we have some pigeons, we set about breeding some winners. There are several methods and they go by the common names of line breeding, inbreeding, outcrossing, super breeders. I will briefly describe each system and add my comments.